Hello, Dan here with Foul Play. Today I'm in the car. I'm waiting for Mrs. Foul Play to complete a dental procedure. She is having a root canal. She's not having her best day. Ranks right up there with putting your finger in your eye. I put my finger in my eye, merely taking my contact lens out, and some bad juju happened to my conjunctiva. And it got bruised and swollen, and the eye doctor said that everything else looks okay as far as my cornea is concerned, so I'm happy about that. So it looks like a little bit creepy to have my eye looking like that. A little bit too much reflection with the glasses on. But today I wanted to discuss, as I mentioned in the description of the last video, why we get attached to our animals. Do I know why we get attached to our animals? Maybe that's just a God-given instinct, if you will, for us humans, as we care for our animals, whatever it may be. Dog, cat, monkey, chicken, whatever it is. For me, it's one of the great life's ironies. I've never been some big animal lover. I was never mean to animals, and it always made me sad to see animals that were being mistreated. But I was never so touchy-feely with animals until I got chickens. So it's one of those life's ironies. My daughter, who was watching me with the hens the other day, I was holding one of the hens, probably Sophie, said, "Dad, it's a good thing you're already married." Maybe she's right. My kids are just shocked. Because growing up when they were little, they begged and begged for a dog. I kind of reluctantly, I didn't want a dog. We had enough kids tearing up the house. We don't need dogs and animals tearing it up too. So I reluctantly let them have a dog. Dog escaped one day, and I had to go to doggy court. Bum 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 bum. So I went to court, and the judge asked me, "Well, why are you here about the dog? And tell me about your dog," something like that. And my defense was, "It's not my dog." I said, "Your Honor, it's not my dog." And he looked at me like, "Well, whose dog is it?" I said, "It's my kid's dog." And I said, "You should have heard him, Your Honor. They love dog more than me." They said, "Daddy, give us dog. Daddy, we want dog. Daddy, please give us dog." I said, "You should have heard them. They love dog more than me." The whole place was laughing. Judge was laughing. And when he finally composed himself, he said, "Well, Mr. Dan, you are the head of the household, so that makes you responsible for the dog. So just pay your fines and move on, okay?" So, okay. But at least I had my moment in court. So that's why my kids are shocked at my response. It's one of those great life's ironies, what I tell people with regards to the chickens. A year and a half ago, you would not, as I explained, I didn't want to do chickens. I didn't want to see them. I didn't want any part of it. It was not in my heart, but I'm a lot softer now with regards to chickens, but not just chickens, but other animals as well. Dogs, cats, and just other little creatures of God's great creation, right? So why do we get attached to our animals? They trust us, and we trust them. Recently, we shared with the grief, and I'll call it grief, and I think that's what they're feeling at Homesteady, the channel documenting the loss of their dairy cow Ladybug. And we felt that. We felt your pain. I think in the YouTube community, those of us that have a big or a small operation, whatever it be, if we're connected to your animals, we felt that pain with you. Jake at White House on the Hill, when 10 men died on your arms, we felt that. We understand what that feels like. Morgan up at Goldshaw Farm, when a little barn cat escaped or got hit by a car and didn't show up for a day and then came limping back to your property, and the look on your wife's face of pain, your wife, we felt that. And we were pulling for a little barn cat too. Wow. what an amazing recovery, and what I really commend you guys for giving her the best treatment that you can. That's what we do for our animals. We swore we would never take any of our chickens to the vet. We found a vet that would treat our animals. Not poultry experts, but God bless them, and I really commend them for doing their best, and didn't hardly charge me next to nothing for treating our hens there. Great to have that advocate. So we get connected to our animals. Let me tell you a story about Buffy. We had a Buff Orpington named Vanessa. And I might say up front too that we've never lost a chicken. We've never lost a chicken to predators or illness. We've had chickens that were harmed, and I say harmed, they were ill and had trouble with pecking injury or egg bound. So we've had that, but we've never lost an animal to a predator or illness. So Vanessa was one of the original Buff Orpingtons that I described, the little golden puffballs. But that little gal kept jumping the fence, no matter what we did. Clipped wings, buttoned up the fence, no matter what we did. She's kind of a flighty little thing. It's still a sweet girl, would sit in your lap. Flighty little thing, but the little bugger kept jumping the fence. And our neighbor didn't mind. Some of the other neighbors would chase her down, put her back. That's the neighbors that we have. They're just beautiful people. But we felt like she's vulnerable to a hawk or an attack or something like that of an animal. So we can't always be there to track her down ourselves or our neighbors. So we found a beautiful farm, some folks that are good chicken people, and she's thriving in the new house, new house. Well, probably a chicken house somewhere. She's in her new environment and is thriving and doing really well and laying well for them. And we're so happy that we could do that for her, because we felt like that was the better choice. The day that Vanessa left, I came home from work. It was really not even spring yet, but late February, maybe early March. We had trouble with our furnace, and a heating air guy is the one who came over, and they're the folks that have the property where she can other chickens. And so not only was he there to kind of service our heat pump, but there to pick up Vanessa as we previously agreed on. So I arrived home from work that night. It was dark. All the hens were in the roost, and I almost didn't see her, but I walked into the run, and there was Buff sitting out on one of the branches. I said, "Buffy, what are you doing out here all by yourself?" And I picked her up, and she just buried her face and neck on my shoulder and stayed there. I mean, almost to the point of awkward, right? I mean, I'm just having this moment with this chicken. Obviously, we're close to our chickens, but this was like really weird. And then it suddenly occurred to me, could it be? Buffy was kind of the leader of the Golden Girls. She's the top of the pecking order of the Golden Girls. Could it be that she was missing her flock mate? Or am I projecting? A lot of folks will say, "Oh, you're just projecting." And maybe that's true, I don't know. But in that moment, I sensed that Buffy missed Vanessa. And so I think there's more to these little chicken brains that are just about that big than we give them credit for. And that probably goes true with a lot of our animals. So is the emotional attachment just one way from us to them? I'm not so sure that's true. But what I want to say to the other homesteaders who have experienced loss of your animals, and we've watched others too, the ones that I cited are the ones that I can remember off the top of my head, the ones that were really profound. We feel that with you, and we will have times where we have losses. We've had a couple of minor losses, I guess you could call it minor. One of the eggs that Buffy was sitting on about a week before they hatched, I found a broken one with a chick attached to it. That was really disappointing. One of the chicks that hatched didn't live very long after that, about an hour, and I went to check on her, and that chick was gone. So we've experienced some loss but we all will experience that loss. And maybe because as a homestead and as a smaller operation, if you will, we get closer to our animals than it may be a big, I mean, we've ridden our bicycles across Kansas, we've seen a lot of big ranches, and especially in Dodge City where you have a big operation of cattle processing. Obviously you probably don't get close to your animals in those kind of situations, but I just want to say that we feel your loss. I think there's at times more to these animals than maybe we give them credit for. Do we eat meat? Yeah, we do. And we have raised some meat birds. And even with the animals that we will process for our own consumption, I like what Morgan, I keep referring to Goldshaw Farms. I really admire what he's doing up there. He says that, you know, it's the day of processing is not an easy day, and it's not an easy day here at Foul Play either. We've had some meat birds, and that's a tough day emotionally for me. And he says, I want my birds to have one bad day. And that's how we feel about our animals too, even the ones that we will process for our consumption. Their well-being is our top priority all the time. So why do we get attached to our animals? Maybe that's not logical, right? Thank you, Spock. Bone Spock, we have to save a ship. Little Captain Kirk there. I don't know why, but I'm grateful for it. And I know that those of you out there that have your animals, we appreciate what you do for them. We grieve with you at times, and we stand with you. So thanks for listening. Mrs. Foul Play will be out here in a few minutes, and she'll be drooling all over herself because she has to take the pill to do dental procedures, because she has this weird family trait where numbing medicine doesn't work. It flat doesn't work for her, and that's one of those weird family traits. And so they still use it, but they have to pre-medicate her with the pills and stuff like that. So we'll be driving home in about 30 minutes. Thanks for listening. We'll keep you updated. I'd like to talk about the Barred Rock chickens next. Those are the kind of black and white. We have Dixie and Henny Penny, and we'll be documenting those two little gals maybe in the next video. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So we got Mrs. Foul Play home from her dental appointment, and I'd say it's time to release the clucking, shall we? Let's give these girls and boys and hens and itty bitties some freedom. What do you say? All right, release the clucking. There we go. Hi ladies, hi ladies. Did we get everybody? Here comes the little bitties and mama. Where's mom? Mom's already out? Mom's already out. Come on, little bitties. Come on, little bitties. You can do it. Come on, little bitties. Everybody glad to get out? Wilson.